News overnight. Explosions, military assaults, all going off across Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin did announce the attack on the country early this morning.
U.S. President Joe Biden calling the attacks unprovoked and unjustified. And this morning, leaders from around the world are calling on Russia to stand down.
And our News 5's Ashley Portillo is live in the studio this morning to break down the very latest developments. Good morning, Ashley.
Guys, good morning. So Ukraine is under fire this morning, and the government now arming citizens in need and calling on NATO allies to assist. Now, this does come after Putin announced a military operation to protect a separatist-held region of Ukraine. And earlier this morning, Putin also referred to his country's nuclear arsenal as he threatened any foreign country attempting to interfere with, quote, consequences you have never seen. Meanwhile, during an emergency meeting last night, members of the UN Security Council condemned Russia's actions. The U.S. ambassador to the UN said the only reason the meeting was called was to ask Russia to stop and, quote, return to your borders, asking them to send their troops, tanks, and planes back to their barracks. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian president introduced martial law and are urging people there to just remain calm.
Stay at home if you can. We are working. The Army is working. The whole sector of defense and security is working. No panic.
And in a statement, President Joe Biden says Russia alone is responsible for the death and destruction this attack will bring, and the United States and its allies and partners will respond in a united way. The world will hold Russia accountable. Meanwhile, Putin called on Ukrainian soldiers to lay down their arms and go home. And President Biden is expected to coordinate with NATO allies later this afternoon. A White House official says he'll be announcing further consequences the U.S., our allies, and partners will impose on Russia for its attack on Ukraine. Guys.
All right, and I know when President Biden addresses the nation, we will carry it live here on News 5 this afternoon. Now, after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky reached out to the U.S., President Biden has vowed support for the Ukrainian people and says the U.S. will continue to provide assistance, calling Russia's actions unprovoked and unjustified. Zelensky says he's been in contact again with various international leaders, such as the German Chancellor, as well as the President of the EU and the President of Poland and the UK Prime Minister.
And people are trying to desperately flee earlier today as tanks and armored vehicles entered into Ukraine. This video here is from Senkivka, the border checkpoint. It's about 140 miles north of Ukraine's capital city, Kyiv, but we did learn that Russian forces have made a breakthrough into the Kyiv region, according to the Ukraine's Ministry of Interior. And I also believe that they were in Belarus this morning.
Now, we've got a lot of video from much earlier from Kyiv, and you can see smoke and damage here done during to surrounding areas of the capital city after Russia launched their missiles yesterday, our time. Also reports of cities being shelled, and the Associated Press is reporting 40 people have been killed in Ukraine so far in these attacks.
More video showing the fallout in Kyiv, this one on the outskirts of town overnight, as people were lining up in front of local banks to pull out cash following the attack. Several Ukrainian government websites were actually offline yesterday as a result of a cyber attack, and we have seen roads just packed with vehicles as people are trying to get out of Ukraine. We're going to have more on Russia's attacks on Ukraine coming up, but for now